modern retail leadership has become numerically fluent, but experientially blind. The higher a retail leader rises up the ranks, the less they're exposed to seeing stores the way that customers and associates do. Corporate gravity kind of pulls them away from the sales floor, and so they end up seeing their stores through the lens of stats, things like sales per square foot, shrink percentage, net promoter score. And they don't see stores as the living systems that are comprised of human emotion, workflow, and energy that they really are.
Welcome back
to another episode of the Innovate on Purpose podcast, hosted by Matt Muller,
best-selling author of The Mindful Innovator and Rethink Retail's top retail expert.
We can help retail leaders find clarity so they can grow their businesses purposefully.
We will uncover mindful tips, innovative solutions, and purposeful leadership advice and strategies that you can apply immediately to your retail innovation. Are you ready to innovate on purpose?
Hey, before we jump into the episode today, I just wanted to say thank you for hitting the play button. You being here fires me up, and I cannot wait to share with you the insights that are going to make a difference in your business. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and leave a review so I can reach as many retail leaders as possible. They too need to hear this. Okay, let's do it. Welcome to Innovate on Purpose, the show where we dig into how leaders turn intention into innovation and change challenges into opportunity. I'm your host, Matt Muller. Today, we have a truly special guest joining us, DeAnn Campbell, a globally recognized retail strategy and experience expert and member of the Rethink Retail Advisory Council. Over the past 2 decades, DeAnn has worked with a roster of leading retail and consumer brands on both the client side and as a consultant, to bridge the gap between store design, operations, and customer experience. She's the architect behind metrics that measure the true contribution of stores, not just by sales per square foot, but by service, brand, loyalty, and operational impact. Today's conversation is all about what many retailers fail to see, those hidden problems quietly eroding profit in plain sight. When we fixate on macro issues like tariffs, supply chain, or tech, we often neglect what's happening right in our stores. DeAnn and I will unpack how to shift your focus back to what you can control, unearthing friction, elevating experience, and capturing profit that's been left on the table. And for everyone listening, we've got a free resource to dig deeper, the Hidden Problems white paper over at topretailexperts.com/hidden problems. It's packed with real-world case studies and the framework DeAnn uses to guide retailers past blind spots. So without further ado, let's welcome DeAnn Campbell to Innovate on Purpose. DeAnn, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here, Matt. Thank you.
My gosh, I'm so excited to have you as well. I mean, we've been talking about hidden problems within the store, and I've been finding so much insight in our conversations. Like when we're talking about a store, we're looking at stores together. I swear, it's like you just find them like that. So it's so happy to have you on to talk about it today.
Thank you.
Yeah. So DeAnn, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your background and what your experience has been like in retail?
I have about 20 years in working for retailers. I started out as an architect, which is an unconventional start. I think commercial architecture is not what you typically start retail in, but I find it a very useful approach because getting into the design of a space really helps you with form and function. And that's really how retail operates. That has helped me get into the strategy, which helped me get into the operations, which helps me understand customer experience. And they're all connected. Retail is really a grouping of connected parts that you can't have one without the other. And so I just really have worked with a series of agencies. I've worked with retailers. I used to work for Dollar General, and I've worked for SGK, and I've worked for quite a few consulting agencies as well. And so I have pretty much seen it all, Matt.
Such an interesting background. Architecture as your start into retail is it's very different from many other consultants. How has that been like your advantage? Like what do you see differently with the architecture background?
Architects have very unusual brains in that we are equal parts left brain and right brain. And I think anybody who knows me well would say, yes, you have a very unusual brain. But what I see is extreme big picture in terms of how the whole ecosystem of a retailer has to operate. And I also see the fine detail of how an employee has to interact with a customer and how a supplier has to deliver product into the store, how returns have to reintegrate into the system, and how the customer needs to access both the website and the store in equal ways in order to get to a purchase decision. And so that level of seeing both big picture and fine detail has been extremely helpful to me. And when I talk to other consultants, sometimes they'll see one a little bit more than the other. And so I think having that two-sided vision has been a little bit of an advantage for me.
That is awesome. Yeah, the balance of the left and the right side of the brain where you have like that creativity side, but also a very detailed punch list, which I can validate that you usually have a very detailed punch list with all of our projects.
Very, very, very detailed. Yes.
Yes. That fills in the gap for me because I'm definitely no architect.
Nauseating detail. Yes. It must pass building code.
That's it. Yes. The first thing I wanted to dive into here, Deanne, is a phrase that you've coined that I absolutely adore, which is store blind. Now, you said that retailers often become store blind. Like, why do you think so many miss the everyday friction points that quietly destroy customer experience and profit?
I think modern retail leadership has become numerically fluent, but experientially blind. The higher a retail leader rises up the ranks, the less they're exposed to seeing stores the way that customers and associates do. Corporate gravity kind of pulls them away from the sales floor. And so they end up seeing their stores through the lens of stats, things like sales per square foot, shrink percentage, net promoter score. And they don't see stores as the living systems that are comprised of human emotion, workflow, and energy that they really are. And, executives look at dashboards which flatten context instead of walking store aisles. And when they do tour stores, they do it on a schedule, not at peak chaos hours. And over time, I think they mistake metrics for reality and they become store blind to those operational frictions that actually decide whether a shopper is going to buy something or leave empty handed. And inside the stores, those frontline employees, they're overexposed to routines and spaces. They see these things day after day after day, and they're not trained on spotting subtle details and what to look for. Very well things like confusing wayfinding or not taking out that discontinued piece of equipment on the perimeter. They would look at that and not really realize the serious problem that it really is. It seems innocuous, but it's a friction point that chips away at customer experience. And it has a really big impact on basket size and brand loyalty.
Yeah.
This is a problem because shoppers are not going to complain about these things. And even if you ask them, is there a problem in the store? They could never specifically call these things out at all. To them, something's just going to feel off. And data dashboards are never, ever going
Yeah.
to identify these kinds of issues. They're very difficult to find without a trained set of fresh eyes to uncover them.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes like those things that are in our stores that just don't feel right. It's like the silent killer for our consumers because they aren't going to say anything, right? It's like if it's like you have like a dead Coinstar machine in the store, like I don't know, it's there and it's not working. It's creating a bad experience, and all of a sudden it impacts the rest of the store experience. So all of a sudden now they just don't even want to shop your stores because it just feels off. It's not like there's no like cohesiveness to it.
Yeah, that freezer has had an out of order sign on it for a
Yeah.
month. What else are they not taking care of in this store?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I do think like, yeah, when you talk about like a leader that rises from the store and goes into the corporate office, or sometimes I call the white ivory tower, it's like you get up there and you forget the reality of what it's like in those stores, and you are managing it by that P&L. I came from stores myself, and after a while, I went into the corporate side of the business, and guess what? I kind of forgot, where I came from. Like I always was the advocate for the retailer, for the employees, the frontline workers. But even I, like, after being out of it for a little while, you forget unless you keep on going back into the stores. So it's so important to continually walk those stores. And like you said, not on a schedule, but that's like
That's
the
right.
worst. Yeah, when you go on that schedule or when you tell people that you're going to be in the store, I mean, it's going to be perfect.
The red carpet's gonna be there. They'll have
Yeah.
beverages for you.
Yes. This is what it's like in my stores every single day. We
That's
don't get
right.
the real experience, but just doing those pop-up visits and doing it with curiosity and empathy and through the eyes of the consumer is so important. But,
That's right.
sometimes it could be so hard to even see it, like, because those are your stores, and we're so
Exactly.
biased. But so many executives focus on macro issues like the tariffs, supply chain, digital transformation, which is a huge buzzword. How can retailers refocus on what they can actually control inside the store?
I love this question. It is so powerful. It's so timely, and honestly, I think it's the root of what's gone wrong in retail leadership over the past decade. C-suites have become macro economists, in my view, when really what a retail business needs at the C-suite level are micro operators. Retailers can't control tariffs or inflation or, TikTok trends, but they can control what happens inside the four walls of their stores. The things that customers see and feel and touch and hear. So turn that strategy inward. I mean, instead of how do we defend our margins from inflation, make that where are we losing money, time, or loyalty inside the store right now? Focus on the things you can fix because I guarantee there are lots and lots of things that need fixing in that store. Change that mindset from macro anxiety into micro accountability and reground your leadership in the store experience. I mean, the best operators, those retailers like Trader Joe's, Boot Barn, Bon Mar, Shields, these are companies that are consistently profitable year over year. I mean, my God, Bon Mar has been in business 150 years. They've made a profit every single one of those 150 years. All of these retailers are deeply, deeply focused on the micro details of what's happening inside their stores. And you've got to remember, excuse me, you've got to remember the most profitable innovations in retail still happen within 30 feet of the shelf.
Mhm.
And if retailers redirected even 10% of their transformation energy and budget towards diagnosing and removing in-store friction, I think they'd see a faster ROI than any macro play could ever deliver.
Yeah, and those macros take so long to impact. Like if you have something that's going to counteract tariffs or supply chain, the impact is not going to be for another 6 to 12 months with whatever plan you put in place. But there are things that you can do right now in those stores that are going to just tweak the dials a little bit to create a better experience and get more product through the registers. It's like it is controlling the controllables. You know,
Exactly. I mean, you can't do anything about tariffs, so why not attack the things you can do something about right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So on Rethink Retail's advisory page, topretailexperts.com, there's a white paper that we published. A ton of great insights in there. And you share some really simple fixes that lead to the massive impact we're talking about, like adding mannequins to or moving baskets into the right places of the store. Which example best illustrates how small operational changes can deliver huge ROI?
I love this because I love sharing these things because I'm proud of them and they're fun whenever I find them. I'll give you a couple because and these are not in the paper. So these are bonus.
Bonus.
We did a flow study for Marks and Spencer to understand why sales were low in menswear. We expected to find something complex like the product mix was wrong, the display layout was bad. What we found was the sweaters and shirts were displayed on table displays and they were folded in a very complex looking way. Shoppers didn't want to unfold them because they didn't think they could refold them the same way. because they didn't unfold them to look at them, they didn't buy them. So when the products were changed to be simply folded in half on the table, sales went up 36%.
Wow, 36%.
6%. Dashboard data would never have revealed that. It would have shown it as a lack of dwell time, which would have traced back to product mix or display issues. So for a zero cost solution, sales were boosted 36% by finding that hidden friction point that started manifesting the very next day.
Deanne, like, how did the team come to realize that the folding was the issue?
We did it by observation. We watched body language. We just observed the customer. And of course, talking to them, why didn't you looked at that, you looked at that, why didn't you? And if you catch them in the moment, they'll tell you why.
Yeah, I love that the pairing of the two things together, right? Sometimes when you talk to a consumer, they'll tell you something, but it's hard to sometimes really tell you really why they did something, right? To understand your own psyche is really challenging. 85% of the things we do are from the subconscious. But
Yeah.
when you start to put the observation into it as well, and say, "Oh, look at this. This is interesting. People keep on coming over to the display. They touch it, but they don't ever unfold. But meanwhile, they are in this display over here where it's simpler fold." And then you can take that observation, ask questions on top of it, and then those layers together give you these amazing insights that can impact the store performance big time. That's
I
an
know.
amazing example.
For zero cost. I mean, it's
Yeah.
incredible. Another one I love is children's big box store, Babies R Us. I mean, it's easy to forget 25% of sales in children's stores come from grandparents. Some of them get tired walking around a big box store, but they like to shop with their families. And the families leave when the grandparents get tired. But adding in some inexpensive seating into the store, now the families can stay longer because the grandparents can go sit down when they get tired. Boosting dwell time boosts sales 10 to 15%. And another added bonus is pregnant women. They can now spend a lot more time in the store picking out their own items for their baby registry instead of doing it online. And that's really important because if a mom picks out her products in person, that reduces return rates from 19% for things she picks out online to 3% for the things she picks out in store. And I mean, look around today, Target, Walmart, Carter's, all the baby departments there, none of them have seating. And I still hear complaints from pregnant women that they can't stay in the store very long because there's no place to sit.
So where would you like recommend a retailer? How do they strategically plan for places to sit? Because I could see that being like kind of hard to do with keeping the flow natural. Like where would you recommend like the best places to look for seating?
Well, I think they need to rethink departments in some cases, like a baby department. Does it really have to be aisles the same as every other department? If you look at, Target is a good example. They have part of their department as aisles, and part of their department is sort of a hub and spoke model.
Mhm.
They have seats in the electronic department. They have display tables in the electronic department. Why can't you do that in the baby department?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, there's a grocery store that recently put in like a husband waiting area in the grocery store, which I thought was so funny and awesome.
Yeah,
Where they had, like, TVs and nice cushy couches in there, and there was a nice little quarters, like, for anyone that wants to just relax while the rest of the family shops.
I love
So,
it.
yeah, I think thinking more purposely about how do you do this and not just putting a chair in the middle of the aisle.
I love it. Well, I mean, families want to go places together. They don't always want to go to every store together. Well, why can't you go out for the day together? And some stores, one person sits it out and looks at their phone, plays a game. Another store, another person gets to do that. Then you can have quality family time together. Everybody's happy, and the people shopping don't feel the stress and pressure, so they can take their time walking around. It's basic human psychology, and yet most retailers just don't do it. How
Mm.
much does a chair cost, for goodness sake?
I know, it's just not seeing the value in it, but it's amazing what you can learn by just doing these small tests, don't buy chairs for all of your stores, buy chairs for 3 of your stores and see what happens.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear like if a retailer takes that advice and what the results are of those tests of just putting in, a seating area and how that increases the dwell time and transaction sizes
yeah,
and returns, which is amazing, amazing ROIs that you're finding in a simple thing like putting a chair strategically in a store.
exactly.
Yeah. Now, we talked a little bit about like the observations, like at Mark and Spencer's. But, like, if like a retail leader was to like go into their stores and start to like just make those observations, like just talk about how customers show you the problem through their behavior and not their feedback. Just a little bit more deeper. Like, what should retailers look for in those signals during a store walk?
I think retailers underestimate how microfrictions really add up to shopper fatigue. And when the store feels effortless, customers will subconsciously translate that to value that's worthy of their time and money. So it's really crucial to find and fix those micro friction points. The challenge is they're hidden by store blindness a lot of the time. So the most efficient way to overcome that store blindness is with fresh eyes that know how to read visual cues because the customer will tell you clearly what's broken, just not with words. And so you're looking for social signals, things like customers coming from a specific area to hunt down help. That could signal a need for better product information in that area. Does your store's visual logic match the shopper's mission logic? And there are things like basic store issues like damaged displays, poor lighting in key decision areas, abandoned products littered around the store. We all see those. Inconsistent messaging. Simple things like that can cost a store as much as 2 to 5% of their revenue every single week. And so you're looking for things like that around your store to send you a message. And that's just a tip of the iceberg. We have in our paper, there's a free checklist that you can download. So that's a guideline as well. Another thing that I absolutely love is finding employee workarounds. Those handwritten signs that you'll see employees have done and posted around, or manual sorting stations they've made for themselves. Staff have already found your friction point for you. They just haven't been paid attention to.
Yeah, yeah. In some cases, they're actually solved for you right there, but on a one-on-one basis. So imagine now saying, okay, this is working for this crew here. This can be, copied and pasted at every single location, saving you so much time and probably money as well.
Exactly. I mean, wherever an employee has invented a shortcut, that's a process or system gap that HQ needs to solve.
That's interesting. Yeah, just walk. I can even see like where if you're walking a store, you're looking at it from those two lenses, and maybe even do it separately, where you walk the store from the consumer perspective, and then walk around the store from the employee perspective, and say, okay, well, what are we seeing from each of these channels?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you're not just looking for things that are wrong either. You're also looking for hidden opportunities
Yeah.
to chances to increase dwell time, to enhance the customer experience. Then that's going to grow revenue or increase margin because those things are equally important. I mean, going back to seating, because that's a pet peeve of mine, of course, obviously. I recently watched a grandmother. She drug a chair from Target's garden section over to the baby section so her pregnant grandchild daughter could
Wow.
sit while looking at baby strollers. And yes, I went over and talked to her about it because I'm
Of course you
weird
did.
that way. But there's an opportunity right there to boost dwell time, reduce return rates just by observing behavior. Shoppers will show you the problem or the opportunity if you pay attention. And dashboards are not going to show you these things, and staff are not going to put two and two together either. They're far too busy and they're not trained to notice things in the same context. But resolving issues like this is going to lift revenue, but it's also going to lift employee morale. I mean, imagine how happy an employee is going to be if you take their shortcut workaround and turn it into company policy. Oh my gosh. And you're going to see results from that instantaneously.
Yeah. So it feels like going on the hunt for hidden opportunities in a store is a very purposeful mission and something that you have to like be mindful of going into the store and say, hey, this is what I'm my intent is to find those hidden opportunities. That's not something that you probably can do on every visit when you're in the stores. There are the other things that you need to get done, like, actually have to like, get these things that need to be done today. So like how frequently would you recommend a leader going into their stores and searching for these hidden opportunities?
Well, I mean, I would love to see a leader go weekly personally, but I know that's not realistic. But it's really depends on the type of business, but as often as humanly possible in as many different stores as possible. And so it'll have to be on a personal basis because it depends if you're the CEO of Target, probably don't have a lot of time, but if you can make it out once a month, you're probably doing well.
I think it's also about setting that culture too, because it's like it might not be something that you do personally on the regular, but if you can ingrain that into the culture that we're looking for those hidden opportunities, we're looking for ways to improve the store experience and have that continuous improvement mindset. If that's a culture that you can set, you'll be much better off having the whole team working with you instead of it being just a solo journey.
And make it a mandate. When I worked at Dollar
Yeah.
General, every employee was encouraged to work in stores and, in fact, mandated to work in a store at least a couple of days every year. And that was all the way up to CEO.
hmm Yeah, it's so important. It's so important to get back into the stores. Actually, I just saw a post recently about Pizza Hut, and they have their corporate crew is working in stores all around the country for a month on Friday evenings. So I love that. Not just because they're going back into their restaurants and doing the work and making pizzas and delivering and all that stuff, but they're doing it Friday evening. That is key, right? It's like a lot of times when I see corporate offices going back into the stores, it's like Monday morning, the off hours when nothing is really happening. But going in when there's actual fires to put out and being a part of, contributing to that, that is key.
Exactly. Well, at Dollar General, we were encouraged to go work the week around right before Christmas because A, they needed extra help. So it was a free way to get extra staff. But
Yeah.
B, it was trial by fire. You really saw boots on the ground, frontline understanding of what's going on.
Well, that must have been so interesting. Absolutely. Yeah. So, Deanne, like if a retailer wanted to get started today on uncovering the hidden opportunities, like what's the first step you'd tell them to take, and how quickly can they expect to see results?
I would say, again, walk your stores, but with a system. And start with one store and not a flagship, not a special store. Pick one ordinary workhorse store and go and spend 90 minutes there. Show up unannounced and walk around as if you were a new customer and just do three things. Walk the store with fresh eyes and just look at the physical space. And again, I go back to that checklist that we offer for free in our hidden problems white paper. You can download that as kind of a guideline if you want. And the second thing is observe, look at the customer and the employees, watch their behavior, their movement, watch their body language. How do they interact with the products? How do they interact with each other? And then the third thing, which is really important, talk to the staff, ask them questions. Why did they need that handwritten sign? What's something that customers ask for over and over again? What's one thing that slows you down the most? You will uncover more actionable insights in 30 minutes of authentic frontline communication than any year of dashboard reviews. And then this is really important. Pick one small thing that you uncovered and fix it immediately. Don't make it a pilot. Don't announce a rollout. Just fix that one visible, solvable friction point within the next 24 hours. Make that change, measure the reaction, and then celebrate with the store employees. Within that 24 hours, you are going to see amazing results. You're going to see morale go up. You're going to see probably a little boost in customer experience and behavior. The goal there is to build momentum and trust just by fixing what everybody in that store sees, but nobody owns. And that is going to be a really important starting point to build the positive culture change that you're looking for. And then after that, you hire us to do a store audit program to find the millions in
Yes,
hidden
go deeper.
frictions
Yeah, go deep
across the
because you
larger
can't do it all
business.
on your own, right? And you do
Exactly.
need like the first one, fresh eyes, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to have fresh eyes when it's your business, so
Yes.
it's so
Yeah.
important. But I love the process that you're painting here for our leaders, right? Where it is going into those stores with fresh eyes, making those observations, having conversations with employees and being curious, like asking questions. Like one of the things I'd add to that piece of it when you're asking those questions, to not have a rebuttal and say, well, this is supposed to be the way that we do it. It's this way, not that way. Well, why are they doing it that way? Because there probably is a reason for it, right? Like when I was working in the deli space, employees weren't slicing the product and showing it to customers, though it was a part of their process. Time and time again, they would tell us, well, we're not doing it because we need to save time. We have so much going on. That customer wants to get out of here. They don't want the slice. They had to yell that to us every single day, like, they don't want it. Stop. But if we kept on like just saying, no, this is the way it's supposed to be, the way it's supposed to be, it's not doing us any good. So just being curious and open to why they believe that's just the way to do it. And that last piece, I can't say, can't tout how important that is. Take action immediately. Do something with it. An insight that sits in an email is worthless. You want your insights to actually improve the process, improve the business. So take action on it. If you don't, then don't even bother.
Well, and just pick one thing. I can't tell you how many times I've seen leaders come back with a list clutched in their hand, and then it
Yeah,
goes nowhere because it's a long
too much.
list and they don't know where to start. No, pick one thing and just take care of that one thing. And by taking care of that one thing, you would be amazed at how suddenly all the other things seem so much easier to execute on.
Absolutely. Dan, thank you so much. This has been a fantastic conversation. You've helped us see that some of the biggest retail innovations don't come from the radical reinvention, but just from sharpening our vision inside the four walls. To wrap up, can you share the one mindset shift you hope every retail leader walks away with today?
I think it's that you need to rebuild your company's culture around micro control. I mean, stop waiting for macro conditions, rates, tariffs, all that stuff to turn in your favor. It's not going to happen. Um, Profitability and loyalty are built through thousands of those controllable micro decisions inside your stores. I mean, 80% of sales still happen inside stores, right?
Mhm.
So, cleanliness, signage accuracy, display quality, team energy, consistency of those things. Leaders who obsess over those details are routinely top performers in the industry, not the ones who have the latest and greatest self checkouts or the gamified loyalty apps. And you can start this mindset change so painlessly by rallying your team around solving store blindness because it's collaborative, it's visible, and it delivers real time results without disrupting your business. So, find a partner, like us with fresh eyes to ferret out all those missed opportunities and hidden drains because you can't control tariffs, really, but you sure can fold your sweaters differently and increase your sales by 36%, which is really going to get you started. But what really gets me going about solving for store blindness is the speed and ripple effect that it can have. I mean, most of these fixes cost almost nothing to implement, but they start showing up on P&L in weeks, not
Mhm.
quarters. And how often does C-suite get instant gratification on their balance sheet? I mean, that never
Right?
happens, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And the changes cascade across the entire company. I mean, even outside the company, across manufacturing and partners and suppliers. And so it's really a mindset change for collaboration and cultural progress. I think you and I personally have seen how resolving hidden frictions in stores have generated 10 million ish in
Yeah.
additional revenue for a single store.
Amazing. Yeah, it's amazing what you can just shift in your store to get these real-time results.
Right, and apply that to that particular retailer's chain of 480 stores. I mean, we're not talking about small, insignificant dollars. And
Absolutely, yeah.
even though these changes are store-centric, they touch every employee, every department. And so this is why I'm so excited about it. It quickly feeds the cultural change and kicks off that positive mindset. It's cumulative. And I sound like a commercial. I mean, it's ridiculous, but but
But wait, there's
simply
more.
it amazes me that by simply focusing on fixing these in-store frictions, you're automatically changing your company's culture. You're not even trying, but it's automatically happening while you're adding revenue to your bottom line. So culture and money, I mean, two of the most important things to grow
Absolutely.
in
Yeah.
your company.
And
So
it compounds. It compounds for sure.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Dan, thanks again. So before we sign off, a few reminders for our listeners. Grab your hidden problems white paper at topretailexperts.com/hidden hyphen problems. It's free and full of examples you can use right now that doubles on top of what Deanne has just dropped on us here today. Second, review your stores through a fresh lens this week. Walk them like you're a customer and ask, what friction do I see? What's missing? What's distracting? And three, reach out to Deanne if you want to explore a custom audit or advisory. She's more than generous with her thinking and always eager to help retailers see what they've overlooked. Deanne, it's been an honor to have you on Innovate on Purpose. Thank you for challenging us to see better. And to our listeners, thank you for being part of this journey. Until next time, stay curious, keep innovating, and always question what you think you already see.
We have made it to the end of another episode. Thank you for tuning in. A couple of things before you go. If you have found value in this episode, I am sure you'll find value in what we have coming up. So please subscribe so you will have access and know when we launch the next episode. Also, leave a review. The more reviews we have, the further our reach becomes, and I truly want this to be heard by as many leaders as possible. Don't hog this all for yourself. I would love to hear your insights on this topic, so meet me on social media at Matt Muller Innovation on LinkedIn and Instagram. And lastly, if you want to learn more about my story and what I can do for you and your company, go to themindfulinnovator.com. I would love to help you innovate on purpose. Until next time, just remember, bring a level of awareness to each conversation, each observation, each moment, and you can create great change in this world. Thank you.